Ron Parks here and welcome back. Today we're going just to lay out the worst ways you're getting ripped off when you buy a car. Now we don't even have to watch Family Feud to know what one of the most hated professions in the world is. A survey always says car salesman. In a study by MoneyWise.com, car salespeople ranked the second most hated profession in America, just under U.S. Congress members. Now, nothing is more aggravating to a financial advisor like me than reviewing a client's budget and wondering, well, you're paying how much for that car? And it's incredibly irritating because we, just like any consumer, get easily manipulated. Now, that's not to say all car salespeople are bad by nature, and by no means. The way I see it, a car salesman, like any other salesperson, only benefits from transparency. And return business should be their priority. But alas, too many see the benefit of quick cash and not about returns in the future. And those are the ones that are likely to play you. So now I'm going to tell you what they do, how to spot it, and what you can do to make sure you're getting a fair deal. I'm going to work my way from number 10 down to number 1. Okay, number 10, mixing negotiations. Now this is salesmanship 101 or even con man 101. Most people walk into a car dealership with a fixed idea of what they can afford to pay each month, and dealerships are aware of that. So watch how they talk to you. They're trying to determine what you think a fair price is. Sometimes they'll even ask outright. So don't let it slip out. Treat this a bit like a poker bluff first, because once a salesman has a number in hand, he can use it to talk circles around you. Now this is very much like a good shell game or a magic trick. They don't want you to focus on the price, so they'll tell you the monthly payment, which they can use to figure in your trade-in, if you have it. And remember, go in to buy a car and don't talk about the trade until the deal is done. Now you can try to trade the car into them and see what price they give you. And you can also go to other dealers or sell it privately. Now they'll do whatever they can to keep you focused on the seemingly low monthly number, hoping you don't see what they already included to get you there. And it's like a magic trick. You want the viewer to pay attention to the shiny coin, while the other hand is quickly hiding the rabbit. Now you're wondering what you can do if you have a bad poker face. Well, that's a common issue, and it's nothing to be ashamed of. It's just a matter of how to approach the situation. Know the value of your trade-in before you get there, so there's little wiggle room, and ensure that they know you know. And part of this will be meeting his match, so showing off a little knowledge may make them less ready to try anything funny. And from there, be sure you negotiate every aspect of the sale separately. With that, you've got a clear idea of the numbers without room for any liberal interpretation of your financing. So do the new car deal and then separately do the sale of your used car. Okay, number 9, packing payments. This is one of the most common scams on the books. So pay attention because you're almost guaranteed to run into it. Again, car dealerships bank a lot on the belief that you'll be focused only on the monthly payment. They pack the payment and hope you don't notice that services were added that you didn't even ask for. Now, this includes things you never wanted, like extended warranties, the kind of thing you usually refuse at Best Buy. As a result, your monthly bill appears harmless. It's just an extra $30 a month. But over 60 months, that adds up to $2,000 to what you're paying. And that's a lot of money. So there's an easy way to avoid this, and that's to have your financing planned out before you even go to the dealership. You can get quotes from credit unions or banks, or just go online to eloan.com and walk into the dealer armed with knowledge that the dealer presumes you don't have. Again, this is all about being smarter than the dealer. Okay, number 8, spot delivery scam. I don't use the word scam lightly. Frankly, there's no other way to phrase it. This is an out-and-out con. Let's say you make your selection, you've been careful about financing, and think you got a pretty good deal, and you finance it through the dealer. Well, the dealer even lets you drive the car off the lot. Now you're back home, and congratulations, you're the proud owner of a new Mazda. Well, a few days will go by and your dealership will call you and telling you that, well, you have to bring the car back because your financing fell through. Now you're in a state of panic. Your whole future has been put in jeopardy. So you're back at the dealership. They're pressuring you to sign a loan with a higher interest rate than what you had agreed to, and a larger payment to boot. So what can you do? There are occasions when financing could legitimately fall through. So this is really tricky, but it can be solved again by arranging your own financing and take it out of the dealership's hands. And also, for the record, no car dealership on the up and up is going to let you drive off the lot unless they have 100% confidence that you can pay and get financing. So regardless, it's likely a scam from the start. Now, number 7, there are always many things you don't need that they're going to try to throw at you. Do you remember that Fargo scene where William H. Macy is trying to convince a customer that they put an extra layer of protective paint or undercoating on their car? Remember how that worked out? Well, he beat down that buyer, and the buyer threw his hands up and just said, okay, I can't deal with this anymore. So it didn't go very well for the buyer. There's nothing more irritating than a car salesperson who just keeps piling in the add-ons you never asked for. And walking them back is always a feat because they act so confident you'd agreed upon them. Now, you've heard of them, rust-proofing, undercoating, paint sealers, things a dealer will insist were factory installed. Well, they weren't, and you don't need them and you don't want them. Just be firm whenever they're mentioned and pay close attention to your financing statement and records. Make sure those words never appear in a bill or in a contract, and if they do, raise bloody hell and get them removed. And refuse to sign anything unless they've been removed from the payment schedule. Draw red lines through them if you want to make your point, and never let them push you around into things that you don't want. Okay, number 6. I mentioned extended warranties briefly, but I want to get into a little more about them now. Extended warranties, you've seen them. You go to Best Buy, you buy a product. At the end, they ask you if you want an extended warranty on your electronic equipment, and usually you say no. Well, new cars come automatically with manufacturer's warranties. Unless you're buying the 2020 equivalent of a Ford Pinto, you are going to know if there's something wrong with the car in 1 to 3 years. About how long those warranties last. Extended warranties only come into effect after the manufacturer's warranty expires, and a third party handles them and sells them. And what's worse, if you just look them up in Consumer Reports, or as people who have purchased them will tell you, they rarely cover the actual cost of repairs. They have a lot of exemptions, a lot of things that are not covered, and you can be paying $4,000 for an extended warranty and only get $897 worth of repairs during that period of time. So it's never worth it. You're paying for protection that doesn't even protect you. And fortunately, this is a pretty easy one to avoid. Just like with electronic warranties, just say no. Okay, number 5, being rushed. This is less a ripoff than just a manipulation tactic you need to be wary of. Sometimes the dealership will tell you the deal is only suitable for a limited time. Well, they're good at doing that. They want you to have some pressure that, oh, it's such a great deal that if you walk away and don't take it now, you'll never see it again. But having patience is really good advice for living, and it's especially important here. So never let anyone force you into a rash or impulsive decision. And I know that's sometimes difficult because it's exciting to buy a new car, but don't let it happen to you. And for car dealerships, I would recommend only going on days where you've slept well, you're mentally ready for a debate or an argument, and you really feel sharp. And I don't want to make this sound like too much of a battle of wits. You're not dealing with supervillains or James Bond masterminds. They're just salespeople. But this is a situation where I think over-preparation is a good thing. Okay, number 4, the bad credit score. Most dealerships play off the idea that you don't know what your credit score is. Well, that's a fair assumption because many people don't. But if you go in not knowing, expect to get played. All it takes is a straightforward lie by the dealer. They'll walk back to their computer, tell you they're doing just a quick credit check, and from there they don't even have to tell you what they see. And like a bad poker hand, they look surprised and just tell you that, well, you don't qualify for this competitive financing at lower rates. And at this point, you're at their mercy. First of all, you feel foolish not checking your credit score before you got there. And now you're practically thanking them for letting you sign a loan with a ridiculously high interest rate. Well, I think you've already figured out what to do here. And there's plenty of ways to do it for free. We're going to include a link below to show you how you can get a free credit score and a report just going online. Okay, number 3, lowballing your trade-in. Now, more often than not, you're going to a dealership with your old car. In determining what your trade-in is worth, I want to stress the importance of shopping it around long before you ever step into the dealership. Go online, look at Kelley Blue Book, look at Edmunds.com, and go into the newspaper and see what your car is selling for to a private party. And often the dealer is just going to spit out the lowest offer he possibly can, just to get a read on whether or not you're a real sucker. Since this is the beginning of the negotiations, it's one of many ways they try to get a read on you. Now remember, buying a used car at a cheap price at a dealer is a way to make a lot of money, more money than they would make on the profit of selling you the car. So your response to their insultingly low offer is going to determine how they deal with you. Now, if you walk in with just the Blue Book knowledge, you're a little better than an amateur. Now, what you want is an appraisal from an honest dealer. So shop it around as a seller before you even mentioned buying a new car. And the most intimately familiar you are with your trade-in and its value, the less chance the dealer will play games with you. So you want to come at this from a position of power. Okay, number 2, changing figures in the lease. This is something I find particularly egregious. Now, leases are complicated, and if you're leasing a car, you need to study it beforehand. Now, have you actually carefully read over a lease? Well, they're dry, but they're really complicated. Like, what is capitalized cost? What is the residual value? What are these other fees that they're adding? And as a result, dealers absolutely will try to doctor them without you noticing. They'll fudge numbers, they'll change figures all over the contract, and just hope you don't read closely enough before you sign. And if you don't notice, you only have yourself to blame, because this is literally theft going on right under your nose. And the only excuse you have is that you didn't read closely enough. Unfortunately, we all have to make a concerted effort to do better. I don't care if you need a magnifying glass, go over every number with a fine-tooth comb and ask for explanations. And I have a video online on my channel talking about buying versus leasing a car, which I think will give you some good parameters. Now this brings me to number 1, and I hope everything has prepared you for it. Financing to meet your monthly payment. You know your budget better than anyone. And when shopping for a car, most people have an amount in mind that they can pay each month to finance it. And if you give this number to a salesperson, well, they can figure out how to reach that price of the car while making the most profit they can. And once they know the monthly payment you can afford, they can combine the trade-in of your used car with the price of the new car and change financing terms to hit your monthly payment. Well, the financing terms or new car price could rise to meet your monthly payments. And a common tactic is to raise the auto loan terms by a year. So instead of paying off the car in a 48-month loan, well, they raise it to 60 months, and the monthly payment will drop, but you'll pay more over the long run, proving it's a bad deal. So to avoid all of this, don't tell a sales manager how much of a car payment you can afford each month. Negotiate the lowest price you can get on the car. Negotiate your trade-in separately and get pre-approved for a car loan outside of the dealer, so you have all that ammunition. So just to recap, there are many more than 10 things car dealerships will do to try and take advantage, but I picked the ones that bug me the most. First, they'll mess with your payments. Then they'll try anything to add extras on, force a warranty on you, or just start packing in fees you never expected to see. Then there are simple sales tactics I think belong more in the world of con men. You know, it was a great playwright, David Mamet, who wrote Glengarry Glen Ross, and he also wrote a lot of plays and films about cons. And there's a reason they're so intricately linked. So it's essential to keep an eye on those contracts. Never let them change a word, understand everything on the contract, and never sign until you're 100% sure. And remember, there's always a chance that they're lying on some level, even if it's just on a small matter. So keep your eyes open, you have the power, they don't. It's a commodity. If you don't buy from that dealer, you can go to another dealer and try to make another deal. So I hope this information helped and you're armed with good information the next time you go to a car dealership. I appreciate you watching and I hope you enjoyed this video. And if you did, please smash the like button and subscribe. I post twice a week, if not more, and I look forward to seeing you again. Thanks.